Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop.
I'm your host.
Your DFS Jerusalem coming to you live from the
Unless you got 150 entries and then you're a shark and I don't fuck with you.
So there's too much good shit on here. This is the often imitated, never duplicated. I'm here with my lovely co-host. Thank y'all. Stay safe. Enjoy. I may have been calling in to work. You're gonna be in the running for the Snowflake of the Year. Get your shit together with your snowflake. I'm at the crib, man, and I'm just finishing up. Stop. Throw them bitches in the main. I'm telling you. You're gonna see the results, bro. You're gonna see it. This is what's really gonna help you out. You know how I feel about the home dogs. There's a lot of fight in the home dogs, and I really think a lot of shit to go over tonight. Who that scored all them points over there? Player of the night.
Get them in your lineups, get them in there, and let's go get this money.
Thursday, let's go, and remember, in the sweatshop, we always keep it 300.
Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me, of course, on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Welcome to today's 427, April 27th edition of the First Class, where we will be doing a light recap of the action from the 26th, but we're going to be dealing mostly with what we have in front of us for today. We know we have an early slate of games. I love those early games, starting at 1:10. I think the first pitch goes out, 1:05 actually. And we're going to be breaking those down, talking about some pitching prospects, also the one-offs that we like. Then I'm going to close the curtain, and me and the brethren here in the Facebook VIP, we are going to discuss some stacks that we do like. Now, we did have some stacks that we liked from yesterday that did play very well. We did. We had, I think the overwhelming favorite that a lot of us had were the Arizona Diamondbacks. And those cats, for lack of a better term, they just went the fuck off. We had a ton of really solid bats in Arizona, and that was pretty good. That was pretty solid. I was very pleased with the performance of those Arizona guys. Then we had some guys in Seattle. Now, everybody knows I hung my hat today a lot on Nelson Cruz, man, and he did not disappoint. 21 DraftKings points for him, very solid showing there. We all liked Nelson Cruz. Now, as far as pitching went, we all was very, very heavy on Paxton. He was somebody who I wasn't completely on until we closed the curtain last night, and I got a chance to get smacked around by the homies in the VIP, and they were like, "No, man, you need to get Shoemaker out of your head and get some Paxton. You know, get some Paxton in your life." And I didn't completely listen. They talked me off of Hamels in a lot of spots. They talked me off of Hamels in a lot of spots, and that's where I was able to enter Paxton because they were similarly priced. So Paxton was a very good start, man. I think he was like the highest scoring pitcher on the slate, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was the highest scoring pitcher on the slate, and that was a very, very solid performance that we saw from him. Very solid. So I was pleased with my lineups. When I trusted SD bats too hard, my mistake. Diamondbacks are hot, but want to beat the curve. It's all about, yeah, that's right. Yo, we talked about Arizona, man, and you know, a lot of us just said fuck it and threw him in there. You know what I mean? Said fuck it and threw him in there. So yeah, James Paxton scored 34.75 DraftKings points. He was the highest scoring cat on the slate at 8.2, so that was very solid in that spot. We saw Quintana from the early. Now, I was on McCullers. Let me tell you something funny. I was on McCullers a lot in the early. And the way I had my lineup set was I played McCullers and I played Quintana. Now, I like Quintana a little more than McCullers, but he was the later pitcher. McCullers was the later pitcher. So halfway through, I checked my lineups, my day lineups, and I see that one of the guys that I have playing got scratched. He's not going to play. Like, he got scratched. So I was like, oh shit, what do I do? Well, the only way that I could move my lineup without getting a complete zero was to get off of McCullers and pay down for Bauer. So I paid down for Bauer, paid up from that very cheap guy that I had already, and got Santana. Santana goes off, has a really nice game. Bauer doesn't let me down. 5 times in my buy-in, have a really solid early slate. That was awesome. I was glad about that. Doretta Levy, what's happening, kid? How you doing? So I was very solid. And we all were on Quintana though in the shop. Quintana is a K machine, bro. I mean, he's gonna give up some runs, but that K upside with him is just so hard to fade, especially on one of those shorter slates where you didn't have too many pitching options. Okay, so real quick, we've got a ton of solid pitching options on today's slate, starting in the early. We're gonna roll through those, go through game by game, kind of break down, give it take away that gray area. I'm trying to debate how to attack this doubleheader with St. Louis and Toronto. Some are gonna rest second game. You sure? That's very true. And see, that's an interesting curve we got to talk about. Man, Mo, these scores lately, we're gonna have to keep it 150 soon. I know that's right. We got to keep it 150 soon. Yeah, because scores are going crazy. Because whenever Coors goes ham, that's what you're gonna see. And Severino, we talked about Severino too. Now I said that Severino is either gonna mow them down and shut them down, or he's gonna get shelled the shit out of them. And for me, there was just no way that I could play him against, because I did like some of the Boston bats and spots, so I just didn't play Severino at all. But I did have some Yankee bats. The judge came in, showed up, dropped the gavel on old Rick Porcello with his old punk ass. So that was a very solid showing we saw from some of the Yankees we had. Met stack, not what I thought they were going to do. Still, they were decent, but the Braves played well too. We had a couple of Braves that played well. So, yeah, man, Severino got it in, bro. Nah, you couldn't talk me off a Chatwood. That didn't go very well. I did have a lineup with Chatwood in it. You fade Coors and it shows. Yeah, definitely. Now, quick question from Edwin Neves, man. Did any of you try the little mix up thing that's on FanDuel? I didn't try it yet, but I think I'm gonna play it. Let me know if you liked it. Drop that in the comments if you did like that. Let me know, because if you liked it, I'm gonna play it. And I also won my no halftimes too. Ooh, that was pretty solid. So I had a decent DFS day. It's pretty decent. Now tomorrow there's not going to be a show for the main because like I told you last show, I'm doing my little side hustle, my little side gigs, and I've got to go to a couple of auctions tomorrow, try to pick up some cars, and so we only got 3 games on the main. So this is where we're going to really break down the early, because that's going to serve as our main slate, the early that starts at 105. So we're going to go there with it, and during the main, I'm going to be chopping up some cars, doing my thing. So let's go ahead, man, and jump real quick into today's we got a 10 game all day. We got 10 games all day, but we do have a 7 game early, and it's going to start with the Miami Marlins and the Philadelphia Phillies. Okay, now we've got Adam Conley on the mound for the Marlins at 6.1. We've got Jeremy Hellickson at 7.9. I gotta tell you, I kind of like Hellickson in this spot. I think I am going to have exposure to him I think there's an early, like a 4 game slate. I probably won't fuck with him too tough in the 7 gamer, but there is like a 4 game section, I think, where the first 4 games on the slate are going to be there. And I think I can deal a little bit with Jeremy Hellickson in that 4 gamer against the Miami Marlins. Won't really fuck with him too much in the 7 games, but in the 4 game, I think I can deal with him. Now, as far as the bats go, if you wanted to attack him in the all day or in the 7, there's no doubt in my mind you could take advantage of some of those left-handed bats from the Miami Marlins. The Philadelphia Phillies right now have been on somewhat of a tear, and I can tell you, the stats kind of don't say how good they can be, because they're pretty much middle of the pack everywhere. I think they're 15th ranked WOBA in the league. Team WOBA is 316, I believe. So this is like, the stats don't say that the Phillies are good, but when they're hitting the ball, man, they can fucking crush. They can crush. Josh Dewey says, give me some Syndergaard in the early. I gotta know that he's 100% right, because last time I played him, he had that little blister issue or something like that, and he just didn't play very well. He really didn't. 195, 1 in the mix-up. You entered it. You better nail your pitcher. That's coming from How You Doing, the big homie in the Facebook VIP. Now, for this game, it's a 0% chance of rain in Philadelphia, 7-mile-per-hour wind, shooting out toward left field. A dew point is at 65. We got 70% humidity, 75 degrees. Should be great baseball weather. Probably going to be a really good game. There's an 8-run total in the spot. So even though I like Hellickson, I think we can take advantage of some of the Philadelphia bats as well as a couple of the Miami Cats, maybe a couple of one-offs or something like that, right? Next game we're talking about is the Seattle Mariners. You know what? I have been leaning heavily on the Seattle Mariners bats lately, and it hasn't been bad, man. You talk about Nelson Cruz, you talk about the homie damn, I gotta forget the dude name. Segura. Segura has been balling. He's been balling. He's been really, really good lately. So definitely think we can take advantage of some of the Seattle bats. Now they're going to be going against Justin Verlander, and Verlander is a strikeout pitcher. He is a strikeout pitcher. So I kind of like him in the spot at 10.1. Cruz and Segura have been very hot. Now we got to make sure that we have both of those guys in the lineup because Segura is coming back off injury, might need a day of rest. So you might want to take advantage of that if he's going to be resting or something like that. But Hisashi Iwakuma is an early Shelly candidate for me. I kind of like some of these Detroit bats against him, especially some of the left-handed guys. You look at Alex Avila, who's been playing pretty well for the cheap. He's also first base and catcher eligible. Maybe a little Tyler Collins. He's been swinging the bat pretty well for cheap. So, but Verlander is the deal, though. I kind of like Verlander. At 10.1, I think you can take a shot at Verlander tomorrow, especially in that early, man, because you're gonna want a stud pitcher, and he's one of the only like stud pitchers on that early zone. I'll be watching this later, but play Urias Gonzalez and stack the Washington bats. That is coming from Timothy Russell, the big homie. I got 5-man Detroit stack. I kind of like Detroit, man. I do. I like Detroit tomorrow. Martinez is the value pitcher. Kinsler is in a great spot. I definitely agree with that. I'm gonna be playing some of these cats. I'm gonna be playing some of these Detroit cats. All right, the next thing we're talking about is the Atlanta Braves. We've got the New York Mets facing them. This game, first pitch goes out at 110 in Citi Field. 79% humidity, 7-mile-per-hour wind going out toward left field. 0% chance of rain. We got Bartolo Colon at 7.2 on the bump against Matt Harvey. In NBA, you got like revenge game narratives and shit. And while I don't think that those are viable in MLB, I like Bartolo, bro. I like Bartolo in this spot. I do. I like Bartolo, man. At 7.2, I've played him before against the Mets. He always gets up to play them. This game's gonna be in New York. I kind of like him, man. I'm gonna take a shot in some spots at Bartolo Colon. I really am. We got Matt Harvey on the other side at 8.6. This is a prime Freddie Freeman spot where he can crush. So I do like not only Freddie Freeman but a couple of the other left-handed bats for the Atlanta Braves. I have no issue going there. Now it's only a 7-point total, which kind of makes me want to get involved in some of this. Excuse me, Syndergaard. It's Syndergaard, not Harvey. It's Syndergaard. Syndergaard is pitching tomorrow. And Dickey is pitching for the Braves. It's not. This is stupid. I got it right behind me. We've got. Yeah, okay. We got Dickey for the Braves and Syndergaard for the Mets. We got Syndergaard for the Mets and Dickey for the Braves. I'm looking at a bad. I'm looking at a bad reading or whatever. I'm sorry. Let me put it on MLB right quick. If I go to MLB.com, it's better. Yeah, MLB and DK are showing Dickey good. Okay. A couple cats talk about Matt Moore. They like Matt Moore in this spot. Yeah, we got Dickey and Syndergaard. Yeah, so definitely you can play some Mets guys. Most certainly, you can play some Mets guys tomorrow. Without question. And then we got Verlander and Iwakuma. We talked about that already. I like Verlander in this spot. Will Myers crushed me. I like Will Myers, man, but he just did not have a great one today. We saw some of the other guys really get on it. Dickey going back to New York. Revenge game. Dickey going back to New York. Next game we're talking about is the Toronto Blue Jays and the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, let's get this information on this correct, okay? First things first, There's 11-mile-per-hour wind shooting out towards center field. 0% chance of rain. This game is probably going to play, right? Mike Dunn says Mets lefties all day. They are cheap. I can dig that. Okay, so we've got is Matt Latos and Adam Wainwright are going to be on the mound for these guys. Let's check and make sure. Yep, we got Latos. All right. So 5.7 for Matt Latos, and for Adam Wainwright, we've got 7.3. This game plays at 1:45. This is the early game. This is the early game. Yeah. Wainwright is the second game. See, this is what happened when games rain out and shit gets all crushed in between shit. What's up, Darren Hill? Because you got Matt Latos, and then you've got Wainwright plays the second game. So you got Martinez in the first one. All right, so now we're finally gonna get to see Martinez against the Toronto Blue Jays. So you can definitely, without question, fire him up. Most definitely. I like him in this spot. The Blue Jays are one of the worst teams in the league right now batting. We definitely can take... Martinez is in the first game. Yeah, Martinez is in the first game. So we can definitely, take advantage of that. I wanted to play him today, actually. The day the game rained out. I wanted to play him then. So we can definitely take advantage of him in that spot. All right. You like the St. Louis bats in this spot. So we got Carlos Martinez and Matt Latos. And yeah, you can definitely rock with the St. Louis bats. Card stacks are going to be a big deal. A lot of cats are going to be on Cardinal stacks. They are. Next game I'm talking about is the okay. Now this is something we can talk about here. Something we can talk about. The next game is going to be the Washington Nationals and the Colorado Rockies. We've got Gio Gonzalez on the bump for the Washington Nationals, and we've got the homie Senzatella there for the Colorado Rockies. It's an 11-point total. I got my money worth last time I played Senzatella. I don't think I'm gonna be going back to that well. I don't think now's the time to play pitchers in cores, especially against the Washington Nationals. This is the team with the leading WOBA, the hottest hitting team in the league right now. I don't think that there's a good reason to play a pitcher in cores. I really don't think so. There's not a good reason to play a pitcher in cores. Now we can definitely there's going to be a ton of Washington stacks. Yeah, there's way too many. Look at Josh talking about Senzatella, baby. No, I'm not doing it. A couple of guys from Colorado do owe me money. Most notably, Nolan Arenado. Dude was in the batter's box with the bases loaded, did not do anything. Could you have been a day early on the pitcher in cores? I'm not gonna find out. I might rock one Senzatella, because he came up big for me last time. He did. I'm doing it. I've had him every time. You can't hop off at this point. Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna play some Senzatella. We're gonna do it now. But this game is in danger of possibly delaying or raining out. It's a 33% chance of light rain. And remember what Josh Dewey says: every time a game in Colorado is supposed to rain out, it goes ham. So remember that. Yeah, Blackman did play today. It's going to be raining in cores. No thanks to any pitchers in that game. Right. Yeah, he did play. Blackman did play. But we saw another great game we saw from Trey Turner though. Trey Turner got it in today too. So that was pretty solid. All right, next game we're talking about is the LA Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants. The pitching matchup we got here is Julio Urias against Matt Moore. And you know what? I kind of like both of these pitchers in this matchup. Neither one of these teams have been completely tearing the cover off of the ball. We know how much the Dodgers do struggle against lefties. So I definitely think we can play Matt Moore in this spot. Urias, man, pretty decent plays. And neither one of these teams are really like screaming play me when it comes to their bats. So I like both pitchers in this spot. I don't have an issue with either one of these cats. Not at all. I don't have an issue with Urias or Matt Moore. I think we can go either direction and be safe. They're both moderately priced. Urias 8.8. You've got Matt Moore at 7.5. They're both moderately priced. Give us an opportunity to pay up for some other pitching that we like, because we know there is a ace stud on the slate, and we're going to need to pay down a little bit for our starting pitcher 2 in order to pay up for him. Pitchers Park in the Dodgers versus lefties is a law. That is coming from Mike Dunn from the Facebook VIP. So next game we're talking about is going to be the Houston Astros and the Cleveland Indians. You know what? Mike Fiers, Corey Kluber. Kluber is no doubt one of the best pitchers in the league. Kluber is a K machine. He's a K machine. And against the Houston Astros, who actually, I think they're one of the league leaders in K percentage. Yeah, they're one of the league leaders in K percentage. Like they only strike out 18.3% of the time. That's fairly low. So I think you may see a high ownership on Kluber, but if you are not playing Kluber, my suggestion would be to double dip. Not only fade Kluber, but play some of those Houston bats, because this is a team that does not strike out a lot. So I definitely think that is a worthy strategy, a good place to go. Mets, Detroit stacked with Kluber and Martinez, and you can get a couple one-offs. Now, Mike Fiers is a guy that I'm definitely going to be attacking tomorrow with a few of those Cleveland bats. Most notably, at the top of the order, guys like Santana, Lindor, maybe some Jose Ramirez. I'm gonna jump in there. So I kind of like some of the switch hitting or left-handed Cleveland bats against Mike Fiers. I have no issue with that. Next game we're talking about is my New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. You know, this game left a lot to be desired, but I think you're going to have a really, really good one. There's going to be a ton of fantasy points scored in this game for Chris Sale. Lock him in. He's 12.9K. This is like Harden. It's not Westbrook. It's like Harden in NBA. Like, go just lock Chris Sale in. Play him. At 12.9 against, an overzealous Yankee squad that love to try to swing for the fences, and it works out a lot for them. They're actually one of the league leaders in WOBA. The New York Yankees are, which I still don't think is going to keep people off of Sale. Sale's going to be very highly owned. I'm talking 30% owned, and I'm going to have a piece of it, most certainly. I'm going to have some Sale. I'm definitely going to have some Sale tomorrow. Across from him is going to be Masahiro Tanaka. Not a big fan of his. Actually, I think this is a spot where we can take another look at some Boston bats. Chris Sale in the later slate is a lock. That is coming from Josh Dewey. I tend to agree with that. But if you wanted to, and see, this is stupid because on the site that I'm looking at, it says CeCe Sabathia and Drew Pomeranz. That's not who's playing. It's going to be Chris Sale and it's going to be Tanaka. Those are the guys that are starting in this game. So not playing any Yankee bats tomorrow. I'm just not. There's no way I'm playing Yankee bats. Well, in the all day, I think, because there's an all day slate as well. There's a little 4-game shorty. There's a 7-game early, and there's a 3-game main. But there is a 10-game all day. And I think in that all day we're gonna see about at least 30% ownership on Chris Sale, and for good reason, man. Dude is a fucking ace. He's a stud. You gotta play him. Next game we're talking about is the San Diego Padres and the Arizona Diamondbacks. This game kicks off at 9:40 as the first pitch goes out there. We've got Taijuan Walker and Jared Weaver. And if you know anything about attacking, Jared Weaver is a guy you gotta go after. And I think he did have a semi-decent start out last time. Don't think that happens again. The Arizona Diamondbacks are one of the more hotter hitting teams in the league. There's a ton of solid left-hand bats you can use to take advantage of Jeff Weaver. It's going to be a later game. It's not going to be one that everybody's going to be on, because honestly, look at some of the ownership on the Diamondbacks guys, and they've been on a tear recently, and the ownership hasn't been where it should be. So I definitely think I'm going to have some Diamondbacks in this spot, and I kind of like Robbie Ray as well at 8.4. I do like Robbie Ray. I know you like to go contrarian decks, but don't fade a pitcher like him just because of ownership. Talking about, yeah, that's don't do that. That's not fading. Fading Sale is not the way to go. You can fade Sale if you're playing in an all day and you want to fade Sale. I get it, but if you're playing him in the slate in that 7 o'clock slate in that 3 game slate, don't do that. That's just you're just throwing your money away because he's gonna be like 75% owned, 80% owned. The only guys that are not playing him are the Sharks that have so much money that they want to take a shot. Fading Kershaw on the GPP, that's coming from Dexter Pope. I'm not fading Sale. Not in the spot. Not in the spot. We had Jerry Weaver and we had Robbie Ray. Of course, I like Robbie Ray, and I do want to attack Jared Weaver with a few of those Arizona Diamondbacks bats. Last game on the slate is going to be the Oakland Athletics and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And here, we've got Ricky Nolasco and Kendall Graveman. Graveman for the Oakland A's at 7.9, and Ricky Nolasco at 8.3 for the Angels. Saw a pretty nice scoring game from the Angels last night. You know, Mike Trout got into it. We had some pretty solid plays from Simmons. Even Cameron Maybin got into the action. So, you know, something that's kind of sticking out to me is some of these Oakland bats against Nolasco, man. I think there's enough left-handed or switch-hitting bats for Oakland that I think I can take advantage of Ricky Nolasco in this spot. I don't have an issue with that at all. Mike Trout is always in play, but Jarrell Cotton is going to be somebody who I think is going to be pretty popular too. At 8.6, you're going to see him paired with Sale in a lot of spots in the late. Not so much in the all-day, though. So, really solid pitching slate. We haven't had one of these in a couple. I mean, the last one we had, where we had, you know, the highest dollar pitcher, we did have Kershaw, but there just wasn't too much after him. But on the all-day slate now, we've got some really good pitching. So there's a few different ways we can go. I'm about to jump inside of the Facebook VIP, chop it up a little bit, fellas, man. That's where we're going to be coming up with our core plays, our core stacks, our pitching, jumping into some one-offs. We're going to talk about some of that. I'm going to be closing the curtain. But if you want to be involved in this conversation, it's very simple, man. All you got to do, go to the website, www.thedailyfantasysweatshop.com. Matter of fact, go check out the website anyway, because I did post over there a few of my favorite plays for today's slate. Go check that out, man. Like it, share it to Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and let me know what you think. Share whatever you need to do in the comments. But the number one thing I want y'all to do when y'all in the sweatshop, man, is y'all keep it 300. Let's go in, fellas.